I stood on the rooftop of a Beverly Hills penthouse, champagne in hand, Corey's lips trembling as he whispered that he had always loved me. Just days before, his fiancé, my old high school bully, had walked in on us, naked under the soft light of a Malibu sunset. She screamed. He panicked. And I? I smiled. This was never just about love. It was about payback. Beautiful, twisted, orgasmic payback. Before we dive in, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Your support is the fuel behind these stories. To all our new viewers and returning guests who have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? I cannot wait to see that red button turn gray. Trust me, it means everything. And please, do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments right after this intro. Your reactions make this journey worth it. Now, let me tell you how it all began. My name is Natalie. I am 32 years old, born and raised in a small town in suburban Illinois. If you knew me back then, you would never guess I would be telling a story like this today. Back in high school, I was the girl everyone ignored, or laughed at. My teeth were crooked, my skin was a battlefield of acne, my hair frizzed in every direction, and I was painfully, excruciatingly shy. I did not wear makeup, I did not know how to flirt, and most of all, I did not believe I mattered. That was until Corey. Corey Mitchell. Football captain. The kind of boy girls painted hearts around in their notebooks. Blonde, charming, and golden-skinned like a California poster child. I never expected him to look my way, and he rarely did. But once, in freshman year, I dropped my books near his locker. He helped me pick them up. He smiled. I had built an entire fantasy around that single smile. It sustained me through the hell that was high school. But that fantasy shattered in senior year, during a pep rally. I still hear Lindsay's voice in my nightmares. "Oh my God, Corey, I think she likes you," Lindsay screeched into the mic. "Do you, Natalie? You want a kiss?" The crowd howled with laughter. Corey laughed too. That was when I broke. I cried for 3 days. I refused to eat. My mother said I needed thicker skin, and my father just told me to focus on college. But something inside me shifted. I started to study harder, not just for school, but for escape. I planned my escape like a military operation. Scholarships. Grants. Anything to get out of that godforsaken town. And I promised myself, would never be laughed at again. College was where I started to rebuild. I got my teeth straightened. I saw a dermatologist. I joined a gym. I started therapy. Slowly, painfully, I started to discover who I could become. I studied psychology and branding, learning how people saw, judged, and desired. By the time I was 25, I had saved up enough for subtle surgeries. A nose refinement. Chin sculpting. Lip correction. Nothing extreme. But enough to wake up in the morning and not hate the mirror. For the first time, people started to turn and look. Men opened doors for me. Women complimented my outfit. But it was not just the looks. It was the confidence. I moved to Chicago for work. Marketing. High-end fashion. I was building something of my own. One Friday night, I was scrolling through Instagram. There he was. Corey Mitchell. Still in Illinois. Still boyishly handsome. But he had aged. Slight crow's feet around his eyes. A little more flesh around his jawline. He looked real. On a whim, I sent a friend request. He accepted within minutes. And then he messaged me. "Hey. You look amazing. Is this really Natalie from Lincoln High?" I could feel my lips curve into a cold smile. He had no idea. We met at a cafe in downtown Naperville. I wore a navy blue wrap dress and stilettos. My hair was blown out, my makeup perfect. He walked in and froze. "You look, wow," he said, his voice cracking. I sipped my coffee slowly. Thank you, Corey. Life has been kind. He asked about my life. I told him half-truths. He told me he had broken off an engagement. I nodded. Pretended to care. He did not remember the rally. I could tell. But I did. And I would never forget. As we walked out, he leaned in to hug me. I let him. Then I left him standing on the sidewalk without looking back. That night, I booked a one-way ticket to Los Angeles. I had enough money saved. And enough motivation to build something bigger. I launched my own branding agency focused on transforming everyday women into powerhouses, inside and out. I went viral. Clients doubled. Investors came. And suddenly, I was Natalie Brooks, CEO, beauty mogul, and magazine cover feature. But something still ached deep inside. That ache had a name. Lindsay. One Monday morning, as I reviewed campaign materials, a DM popped up. From an account named @LindsayAnnLuke. It was her. OMG, is this really you? You look unreal. I just showed Luke and he cannot believe how much you have changed. Let us catch up sometime. I blinked at the screen. Luke. Her fiancé. The same man I would eventually sleep with. Lindsay's message should have made me angry. But instead, I felt entertained. Tickled even. The same girl who used to lead cafeteria chants mocking my face was now double-tapping my gym selfies and calling me unreal. At first, I ignored it. Then 2 weeks later, another message came through. Hey again, Natalie. I am in LA next weekend with Luke. He is actually a huge fan of your skincare line. We would love to take you out for drinks. Let us know if you are free. You look amazing, BTW. She added a winky face. That was the moment I stopped hesitating. Because a new part of me had been born in silence, something colder, sharper. A part of me that remembered every ounce of pain she put me through. And I knew it was time for her to taste just a spoonful of it. I chose the location carefully. A swanky rooftop bar in West Hollywood, where everyone dressed like they were attending an awards show. I wore a silk wine-colored dress, slit high on the thigh, neckline soft but suggestive. The air smelled of vanilla, tequila, and expensive secrets. When Lindsay and Luke walked in, I already had a drink in hand. Lindsay looked exactly the same. Perfectly curated blonde curls, designer bag, fake laugh. The kind of woman who spent her life cultivating appearances. But Luke? He was unexpected. Dark-haired, ocean-eyed, broad-shouldered. The kind of man who looked like he belonged on a luxury watch ad. He moved with a confidence that said he had gotten everything he ever wanted. Until now. When Luke saw me, his eyes paused. He looked me up and down like I was a new car behind showroom glass. Natalie, he said, taking my hand. You are even more stunning in person. I smiled, slow and deliberate. You must be Luke. Lindsay told me so much about you. Oh, you girls go way back, he laughed, pulling out my chair. Lindsay forced a grin. I saw it. The flicker of insecurity. We drank. Talked. Laughed. And with every glass of wine, Luke leaned a little closer. Complimented my skin, my hair, my company. Lindsay sat stiff beside him, her smile beginning to crack. By the time dessert came, I already knew. I could take him from her if I wanted to. I just did not know yet, if I should. That night, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Luke. Hey. Sorry if this is out of line, but I have not been able to stop thinking about you. Lindsay talks about you all the time, but she never told me you were this magnetic. I stared at the screen. My fingers hovered. Then I replied. Come find out how magnetic I really am. We met in secret. First at hotels. Then at my condo in Beverly Grove. Luke was everything I expected, charming, seductive, skilled. But he was also stupid. Sloppy. Careless. He told me things he should not have. Like how Lindsay was planning a surprise rebranding launch for my skincare line without asking my team. How she laughed about my old acne photos during brunch with mutual friends. How she still called me frog face when she thought no one could hear. That was the night I stopped holding back. I was not just going to sleep with Luke anymore. I was going to ruin them both. My company, Brooks Beauty, was negotiating a new skincare expansion into luxury spas. Lindsay, who now worked for a wellness PR firm, had pitched herself as the best connection. She was to be our brand ambassador for the Midwest rollout. She had no idea I was already in contact with her boss. Over lunch, I offered her boss a direct stake in our campaign in exchange for cutting Lindsay from all promotional materials. The deal was done before the dessert was served. Lindsay would learn about it the next week, on Instagram. But first, I had a date with her fiancé. Luke picked me up in his Range Rover on a Friday afternoon. He said he wanted to escape the city with me. We drove to a private villa in Malibu, overlooking the sea. Champagne on ice. White sheets. Balcony views. It was everything she probably dreamed he would do with her. He said things like, "You make me feel alive." He did not know I had slipped my phone onto the dresser. Camera recording. Afterwards, I stood by the window in one of his shirts, my hair tangled from passion, sipping wine while the sun bled into the Pacific. And then the villa door slammed open. It was Lindsay. She screamed. Dropped her designer bag. Her face went pale, then red, then an awful mix of both. You slut," she shrieked. In my bed? With my fiancé? Luke jumped up, naked, scrambling for his pants. I took my time, lifting the wineglass to my lips. "You should not have called me frog face," I said calmly. Her hands trembled as she reached for the nearest thing to throw. A vase shattered against the wall. Luke tried to calm her down. She hit him. I walked out without looking back. That night, I uploaded the blurred video, just enough to hint. No faces. Just bodies. Breathing. Whispers. Caption, "Careful who you humiliate. The quiet ones grow teeth." The internet devoured it. Comments. Shares. Speculation. Half of Illinois was on fire. I sent a private link to her company's CEO. The next morning, she was fired from the Midwest campaign. 3 days later, Corey messaged me again. "What happened between you and Lindsay? Is it true?" "Come to my launch party," I replied. "See for yourself." The launch party surprise. It was held in a luxury rooftop garden in Beverly Hills. Models, influencers, press. My team spared no expense. I wore red. Blood red. The kind that made men pause and women stare. Corey arrived halfway through, dressed like he had tried to impress me. He came alone. He looked at me like I was a miracle. Like I was his fantasy come true. He whispered, "I never stopped thinking about you." I leaned in, smiled, and said, "You laughed at me." His mouth fell open. "You do not remember the rally, do you?" He froze. "I remember every second. You were not just a boy. You were a part of what broke me." Then I turned to the camera crew and walked on stage. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming," I said. "Before we begin the launch, I want to say something personal. I was bullied. Mocked. Humiliated. But I turned every scar into strategy. Every wound into wisdom. And to those who tried to destroy me, thank you. You gave me purpose." Applause. My eyes met Corey's. Then I saw Lindsay, standing at the back of the crowd. Her mascara ran down her cheeks. She looked broken. Finally. And for once, I felt whole. That night, I stood by the marble bar, sipping a cocktail that cost more than my senior prom dress, watching the chaos I had orchestrated unfold beneath the twinkling string lights. It was not just a launch party. It was a war cry. A reminder that the girl they laughed at had learned to strike back, with heels on and cameras rolling. Lindsay disappeared into the crowd like a wounded ghost. Corey hovered around the VIP section, eyes glued to me like a child trying to reclaim a toy he once threw away. I felt nothing. And it was glorious. After the event, as guests trickled out and photographers packed up, Corey approached me again. His voice was lower, desperate. You proved your point. Natalie, I get it. But I really did like you. Back then. I was just stupid. I looked at him. This was the same boy who joined in the chants. Who watched me cry behind the gym after that rally and never said a word. I replied slowly. You were not stupid, Corey. You were cruel. He swallowed hard, tried to grab my hand. Can we start over? I tilted my head. Start over? Why would I restart a nightmare? His mouth hung open like he expected forgiveness to be a part of my launch gift bag. I walked away. Not because I was angry. But because I no longer needed anything from him, not even revenge. 2 days later, Lindsay uploaded a video to her Instagram story. Mascara-streaked face. Shaky voice. Cropped just below the collarbone to show vulnerability, not cleavage. I made mistakes, she said. And yes, karma came for me. But I am human. I hope someday we can heal. Comments poured in. Some pitted her. Some tore her apart. I said nothing. I did not need to. The internet had already chosen sides. And they were overwhelmingly on mine. By the following week, Lindsay had been dropped by 2 major brands she had represented. Her name was whispered in PR circles like a cautionary tale. Her fiancé, Luke, went silent after I stopped replying to him completely. But there was one piece of unfinished business. A podcast. I had been invited to speak on Beauty and Battle Scars, a viral female empowerment show. And I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I sat in the leather chair, microphone before me, host grinning ear to ear. So Natalie, she said, what advice would you give the women out there who were once bullied? Who never felt seen? I smiled, slow and deliberate. Make them see you. Make them need to see you. Not out of vanity. But power. Because you get to decide who gets access to your world now. She leaned in. Any regrets? I paused. No. Only that I waited this long to love myself more than I ever wanted their approval. A week later, I visited Lincoln High. Not officially. I was just passing through town and wanted to see it. The lockers were smaller than I remembered. The gym still reeked of old sweat and teenage pain. I walked through the corridors like a ghost revisiting her grave. Then I heard crying. Faint, muffled. I followed it into the bathroom. One of the stalls was locked. Inside, a girl sobbed quietly. Hey, I said gently, are you okay? The crying stopped. Then a whisper, no. They will never stop. I closed my eyes. That voice, it could have been mine 15 years ago. Look, I said, I know how that feels. I really do. But one day, they will have to watch you shine. And it will hurt them more than anything they ever said. There was silence. Then the girl asked, did it happen to you too? Yes, I said. What did you do? I hesitated. First, I became everything they said I could not. Then, I let them destroy themselves trying to win me back. The door clicked open. A red-eyed girl, braces, messy bun. Her lip quivered. She whispered, are you Natalie Brooks? I nodded. She broke into a teary smile. That moment, right there, that was worth more than all the affairs, all the payback, all the media attention. That was real impact. 2 months later, my assistant handed me a cream envelope. Handwritten. From Lindsay. Natalie. You won. And I know you probably think I deserved it. Maybe I did. But for what it is worth. I never thought you would rise so far. I never thought someone I used to mock could become the very person I wished I was. I have nothing left to take from you. So I offer you something instead. I am sorry. Not just for the names or the rally or the cruel words. But for not seeing you for who you were. Beautiful. Even then. Lindsay. I folded the letter neatly and placed it in my drawer. I would never reply. Some stories do not need to be reopened. I now live in a hillside home with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view that stretches beyond anything I used to dream of as a girl crying in bathroom stalls. My company grossed 7 figures last year. My face is on billboards. My voice is on podcasts. And my inbox still fills with old classmates asking for coffee. They want to reconnect. They want to remember. But I have no room left for people who only recognize your value once it sparkles. Today, I speak for the ones who were silenced. The ones who were mocked and bruised and ignored. To them, I say. Do not chase their love. Become someone they cannot reach. And when they beg to touch you again, smile. And walk away.